Hello, and welcome back to your favorite podcast,
De-influenced. Hey.
Hi, we're coming back with a sunburn. My back is so itchy, and my husband hates the texture of lotion, so he won't put it on my back.
I know. Just right before bed. Just don't want creamy hands.
He hates creamy hands. Okay, anyway. Yeah, we just got back from Cabo, and man, was that
Needed.
One heck of a trip.
Was it needed?
It's the first time I've ever been on a vacation, probably since I was like in high school, where I was like, okay, I'm ready for the vacation to end. Like, you know?
Really?
Oh my gosh. Did my phone just go off? I so apologize. That is such a newbie mistake. Let me see who texted me.
Dani's worried about the Morgan Wallen concert tonight.
We'll get to that in a second. First, I want to talk about Cabo.
Should we talk about before Cabo? How we were going into Cabo? Is that helpful?
Dead inside.
Is it valuable? No, we were not in a good place.
No, you were not in a good place.
I was not in a good place.
You were not in a good place with me, and I was fine. But Jordan was not in a good place. Tell them how you were feeling about me.
Well, I see. It's so funny.
See, cat got your tongue. You love me.
Well, when we fight and then we make up, I kind of forget why we were fighting.
Okay, Jordan didn't talk to me. I'll tell you. Jordan didn't talk to me for 3 whole days.
No.
And I literally did nothing wrong. No, I didn't.
It was 24 hours.
Jordan, you're such a liar right now. It was 2.5 days for sure. And I rounded up to 3. Sue me. Because we finally talked the 3rd day. You did not talk to me for 3 days. And I kept asking, like wanting to sit down with you and being like, what's wrong? You're like, I'm fine. And I'm like, okay, well, you're ignoring me. You're not treating me the same. You're not looking at me. You went to dinner with your friends on Friday night. You left without saying bye. Then you got back in bed without even saying hi or anything. I'm like, I know you're mad at me. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, why are you mad at me? Like, talk to me. So then finally we talked on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
And meanwhile, I've been trying to plan this trip to Cabo because I know that Jordan and I are not, like, we're not vibing. Like, we're not synced up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to plan this trip to Cabo because our trip to Colorado was amazing, but I was like really sick. And so finally he opens up to me on Saturday. This is 2.5 days of being ignored. Okay. And 2.5, babe. It happened on Wednesday.
Wednesday night though.
No, Wednesday morning after I got back from Elizabeth's.
You went in the afternoon. Okay, whatever.
Okay, anyway.
1.5 or 2.5.
Anyway, so we finally talked and he was like, I just feel disconnected from you and I feel like you don't care.
I didn't feel like you cared.
I did care though. And I was like, what else can I do? I'm planning this trip to Cabo. I'm trying to get us there last minute when all the flights were I'm like, I am showing you that I do care. What more can I do?
Here's the thing is that I don't think I said specifically that you didn't care.
You said that.
But I was also objective about it. And I said, listen, we have been coming off of your first trimester. Mm-hmm. You have been in bed and or sick, usually and sick for the past 3 months. And so I said, it's not your fault. But naturally, I feel like that's worn on us a little bit.
Because then the MLB game came
Yes.
on. And
then, I know we talked about this last week, but I was not happy to be on this podcast last week. I don't think anyone knows, or maybe you did know, but I did not want to be here because the MLB game was not just about the MLB game. It was about a week before that, Dani living in a state of anxiety and paranoia and us not having any room to converse about anything about other than, am I going to strike out? Am I going to get on base?
That is not all we talked about.
It's not all we talked about, but you were in a glazed daze about this game for a week. That's why I said last week on the podcast, I said, well, it's not just about you saying yes to this game because you dragged us through a week before and then not a week after. After the game, you were totally fine.
Okay, but I get it. Listen, but like sometimes you're in those places too. Like you flew to New York for that work trip for a week. And I'm like, you weren't here and you were doing your own thing. And I didn't you didn't come home from New York and me be like, I feel like you weren't here and you weren't present.
No, but listen, this is not, okay, I think this is helpful. Let's talk this out. Because it's not the isolated incident of the MLB game. Obviously, I would have been so supportive of the MLB game. It was, in my mind, the way that it was all orchestrated was, okay, Dani's coming out of her first trimester. That's why we booked the family vacation to Colorado. I was like, we're going to go chill. We're going to go relax. Unfortunately, not your fault. Unfortunately, you were kind of sick most of that time. So we didn't get quality time there. And then we come off of that and go straight into the week of MLB anxiety.
Got
and
it.
So it's not isolated incidents. It was like we were through a whole season that really weared on our marriage.
Weird.
And we were, war?
Uh-huh.
War.
It weird on us. It weird on us.
It wore on our marriage. And that's why I was feeling unloved and uncared for, because I felt like that was hurting me more than it was hurting you. Like,
because you're more sensitive, and I understand that. And I told you.
I'm not more sensitive.
Yes, you are.
Hold on.
You were way more sensitive than me. It's okay.
Did you not care at all? Did you not feel any of the feelings that I was feeling?
No, I did care. And I did listen to you, and we did talk it out. And I said, I'm sorry. Did I not say I was sorry?
You did say you're sorry.
I said, I'm sorry. I really have not been myself. I have been sick. I have been anxious. I have been stressed out. That is why I'm a very action-oriented person. Mm-hmm. And this week I planned a swim party with our friends on Saturday morning and a trip to Cabo for a week next week. I don't know what more I can be doing.
Well, in the moment, this is what I said to you. I said, because you literally the next day after the MLB game, you said, I'm so glad that I can go back to being a mom and a friend and a wife again. And I said to you, okay, I feel like the Cabo trip was so that you could spend time with your kids.
But that's not true.
But I know, but listen, I'm telling you my thoughts. The Cabo trip was so that you could spend time with your kids, and I'm just there. And then you planned the friend swim party so that you could be a better friend. And what I said was like, okay, I feel like this is in the backwards order. I feel like you and I should get good again, and then everything else should fall into place. But it's okay. Honestly, where I was wrong, I'll admit I was wrong, is I feel like the Cabo trip was great. I feel like we rekindled our flame. We connected again. We had a lot of fun, and it was good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was good.
It was great.
It was great.
It was great. And that was you. That was all you.
Thank you.
That was all you.
It was a lot of work, putting together that trip.
I know. You really, I didn't help you at all in the logistics. I was like, you know what? Mainly because I was mad at you. I was like, you know what? Fine. You go plan it. You go plan it. I'm not going to help you book cars.
Yeah. I did it though.
You did it.
I'm proud of myself.
You did it.
Except for on the way back, they moved our seats around.
I knew you were not happy.
I was not happy with the flight attendant lady, but we did it, It
was a good time. First trimesters, man.
So brutal. Well, it was one heck of a trip. We stayed at Chileno Bay in Cabo because I had heard through the grapevine that it was like a great place to take kids. It had probably one of my favorite pools that I've ever stayed or spent time in before. It was massive. During nap times, I was able to read my new book.
Tell us about it.
The Women by Kristen Hanna. And oh my goodness, y'all know I'm a sucker for a historical nonfiction. And she just kills them every single time. This one was about the Vietnam War, the women that were off in Vietnam, which no one recognizes that women were there. Even Vietnam vets, when they came back, were like, no women were there, but they were nurses. She was one of the nurses there. And oh my gosh, it just is so crazy. I love her books because she writes from a female's perspective. So you really can imagine yourself in that era.
It's so genius.
And it's
no one's doing that.
Yeah, no one does that
except for her.
Well. No one does that well. And a lot of she puts in years of research into her books. And so she actually meets up with female Vietnam vets or, veterans that have all these crazy stories. And so a lot of her stories actually come from facts, factual events. And so they're just it's mind boggling. I have this new respect for, Vietnam vets.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is going to be your new history era, right?
Yeah. I've started researching a lot about it. I took a class, which is so funny, my freshman year in college about Students for Democratic Society. Do you remember? Do you know what SDS is?
No, it sounds familiar.
It's just like it was the most random class. Like I signed up for it because like you know UT is like super liberal and was like and I got the credit and I was like, okay, I'm taking this. And like now I'm able to put into perspective everything I learned from that class, which I don't remember most of it. But there were a lot of references to the different student organizations that were like boycotting Vietnam and the war during that time period. And a lot of them, like, you know, like the police, you know, attacked them or abused, like it was just like a mess. It was disaster amongst like a lot of the universities. And like, I learned about a lot of that stuff, but I never like really understood what I was learning.
When it came to the Vietnam War, was it like the Republicans wanted the war and the Democrats didn't?
I think after a while, like no one wanted the war.
Right.
I think it was confusing at first because everyone was scared of communism and like they didn't know if they should be there, if they shouldn't. Like there was a lot of propaganda that was telling America that we were like dominating the war, like we were killing them, like we were, you know, and like we were so ahead. And then like people just kept dying and dying. And it got to a point where like LBJ and Nixon were like president during those times. And it got to a point where I think like the president thought we should still be there, but like all the people didn't.
What was like the catalyst event for the war? Was it the Gulf of Tonkin?
Yeah, you know what? That sounds about right. I'm thinking that sounds about right. I don't know. I just remember like the North and South Vietnamese like started to fight each other.
Right.
Over like instilling communism.
Like we're both, this is like drunk history right now. I'm pretty sure. Okay.
Yeah. The Gulf of Tonkin, I think they said something about that.
Everyone should fact check this. But basically there was this like incident. I think it was the Gulf of Tonkin that basically was the thing. Yeah. Look it up. We have time.
Yeah,
we have really plenty of time.
Yeah. Because Morgan Wallen doesn't go until 9 p.m. We'll talk about that in a second.
But I'm pretty sure that the Gulf of Tonkin was fabricated by our own government to get us into the war.
Like that's what's so wild about reading about history is like our government lies to us a lot.
Oh, they lie all the time. Like they straight up lie all the time. And that's what's so funny is like anyone who trusts the government now. Anyone who trusts the government now, I'm like,
are you dumb?
I'm like, are you serious? Like,
read history.
And listen, this isn't even us taking a side. We're saying both sides. Like, what are you doing? They've lied to us so many times before.
Dude, it's wild. And then a lot of the boycotts and things that were happening were also because like around this era, you had like the Watergate scandal. So like people just did not trust the government.
Do you feel like it's probably like the era that we're in now?
So I was reading, so it was really interesting because there was a lot of, like that's whenever a lot of the boycotts and like conversations started about equality, women's rights,
right,
civil rights, like a lot of things. And yeah, like it felt very similar, but I actually think it was like more extreme back in the 70s, late 60s.
Yeah.
More extreme than like 2020, way more in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because there was just a lot more, I mean, like the protests and the...
well, the government had more power back then because they basically had control of the media. Whereas now the media is so decentralized that you can't, like lying about things is way harder.
It's harder
than it used to be.
It's wild how these groups were able to organize and like protest back in the 60s and 70s when like you literally just had a payphone.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty fascinating.
So is it true that the government fabricated the Gulf of Tonkin? Can we look that up?
The Gulf of Tonkin incident was an international confrontation that led to the United States engaging more directly in the Vietnam War. It consisted of a confrontation on August 2nd, 1964, when the United States forces were carrying out covert amphibious operations close to North Vietnamese territorial waters, which triggered a response from North Vietnamese forces. Oh, the U.S. government falsely claimed that a second incident occurred on August 4th, 1964, between North Vietnamese and U.S. ships in the waters of the Gulf of Tonkin.
Boom. Look at me.
Originally, U.S. military claims blamed North Vietnam for the confrontation in the ostensible, but in fact, imaginary incident on August 4th.
What papers were leaked or released that validated that? It was like a big deal.
But like, do you learn all the, like, do you just remember everything you learned in school? Is that how you remember all this stuff?
I remember core things, but I can't remember details very well.
So like you're saying these things.
Is it the Pentagon Papers that were released?
Yes,
Okay.
It's the Pentagon Papers.
Boom.
See, that's why I married you. Like you remember things. I don't. I remember like concepts and ideas, like vaguely abstract, but I don't remember like the details.
Here's a really interesting conspiracy theory is that because the Vietnam War was it kind of started based on a fabrication, a lot of Americans died.
So sorry, do you think they wanted to fabricate so that we could go to war so that, what, is it money?
My opinion?
Yeah, I mean, let's stir the pot.
Yeah, let's stir the pot a little. Who was it? Eisenhower?
At the time?
No, Eisenhower
JFK.
warned of the military industrial complex.
Totally. That's what I remember.
Really?
Yeah, totally.
Was it Eisenhower? It was Eisenhower. He said that basically what was happening was these defense companies start lobbying Washington, and they are like their profits are driven by war. War is very profitable for these companies. And so he said, and this was like in the 60s or something, right?
Yeah, early 60s.
Yeah. He was like, beware of the military industrial complex, which basically is skewed incentives that these companies have us to push us into war. And what's ironic about what he said is if you look at like the revolving door, it's like people will go from government to defense companies back to government.
Oh, that's fishy.
And it's just like this revolving door.
So you're saying the politicians are making money off of like a gun company?
I don't think it's like that directly corrupt. I think it's more so politicians are bought and their campaigns are bought and paid for by defense contractors because of the lobbying industry. So then it's like, hey, we're going to put you in office, but if we say we want to go to war in Afghanistan,
you have to support it.
Yeah, we want to go to war in Afghanistan.
Wait, really fast. Are we a political podcast right now?
I know. Are we like really woke right now?
Are we like history or what?
But it just like makes sense. Like I think that we'll look back on a lot of these wars and be like, like if you ask me what Vietnam was about, I know that the right answer is communism, but I'm like, really? Like, is that really what it was about? I don't know.
Yeah. And it was really
so many
sad
people died
because there were a lot of really unethical bombings, like where the U.S. would go in and just like bomb a village and just kill like thousands of innocent people. And so what was really sad about a lot of the veterans that served there is they're sent over there and they like think that they're fighting communism. They think they have a purpose. Well, they're there for 3-4 years, sometimes like a little bit shorter, sometimes longer. And they get back and they are like in the middle of combat and they're just kind of doing as they're told. Right. And the Viet Cong, that's what they're called. They're like vicious. Like their way they fought was wild. Lots
of booby traps.
Yes. Lots of, bombs, a lot of amputations were happening over there. Like it was just a bloody disaster. Then they get back to the States and as they're getting off of the planes going through the airport, citizens are spitting on them, calling them baby killers, saying, we hate you. Like go back to, they just hated them. And they're like, what the heck? Like we were just serving our country, getting our, heads blown off. It was really, really sad.
Yeah.
So they were never really treated or, well or respected, but they didn't really know what they were fighting for either. I don't think. I mean, just communism. They're fighting against communism is kind of what they were told.
Yeah. One of the things that you brought up that I thought was interesting and my brain kind of went to this is like you said, because, when we want to watch World War II movies, we have so many options.
There's so many.
We've watched them all.
I've watched them all. I have a notes tab. I can send, I'll post it for you guys one day.
Yeah. We went through that whole repertoire. You were like, what are good Vietnam movies? And there's really not that many.
Because the government's trying to cover it up.
No, I don't think that the government's trying to cover it up. I think
There's
was
nothing
such
to
a
be
stain.
said there. Yeah.
Yeah. It was such a stain on like why we went to war that it's like, let's not talk about this.
Let's not even go there. What about Forrest Gump? Kind of touches on it.
Who was it? His
friend, Captain
Lieutenant
Dan. But no, that's exactly what happened. And what was so sad was like a lot of these guys are losing their limbs and then they get back to the United States. People hate them. There's no resources for them. They had not even really defined what PTSD was yet. And so like a lot of these guys are just like, they're suicidal, they're alcoholics, they're drug addicts.
And they were drafted to go. Like
they didn't even want to go.
Like I always thought about that. Like if I or my sons were drafted in the military to go fight a war that I don't even know what it's for, like how traumatizing that era for so many families probably was.
So that's why they were so angry. And that's why the protests were so emotional, and it was such a big deal because like people, especially after like given more time, people were so angry.
My uncle, John, he didn't fight in Vietnam, but he was like a helicopter mechanic.
Oh,
and
because the pilots, like their average like lifespan was like 30 days in Vietnam.
I think that I grew up like trying to ask him about it, and he would never talk about it.
Oh,
and sometimes in Chicago we would be up there like, and we would turn on a war movie or something like that. And he left the room. He couldn't watch it because, and what my dad or mom told me about it was that the things that he saw were so horrible, just these people coming out of the jungle, were so horrible that it traumatized them for life. It is PTSD.
Literally, like the nurse would talk about how many times like people would just walk in the OR, like carrying their own limbs, like walking in, like carrying his own arm or carrying his own foot. Like it happened all the time. It's horrible, but the book is really good. I recommend everyone read it. I just downloaded it on Kindle, but the thing I like about Kristen Hanna's books is like, if you're like, oh my God, Dani, I'm like not into history. Like you don't even have to be into history to like her books, because she also touches on like love, and there's like amazing love stories, and like it's relatable, and her writing is like, there's never a time in the book where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm over this. Like I just keep on wanting to read. So check it out. Anyway, so back to Cabo. We stayed at Chileno Bay. It was crazy. On the way to Cabo, so the only flight that I could get us was the 7:15 a.m. So we had to wake up at like 4 a.m., leave the house by 5. And we're sitting there with the babies, and my Aunt Lana and my cousin Ella come up, and they're on our same flight. We had no idea that like my family members were also going to Cabo, which made it really fun. So they were staying at the Four Seasons in Cabo, which is a new resort. I wouldn't recommend going there just yet because there's still kind of like, I don't know, ironing out some of the wrinkles there. Also,
it's a ghost town.
No one was there. Like Ella and and Aunt Lana were like the only people staying there.
It's like Ella, Lana, Kristen Cavallari, and the Montana boy. It's like that's who stays there.
That's where Kristen went with her boy. But it was beautiful. It'll be a great option one day. But so yeah, it was fun because we got to go visit them one day. We went to dinner with them at Flora Farms. We had a good old time.
It was a great time. That was pretty much it. There's not a lot to talk about. Oh, no.
What?
Nothing.
What?
That's really it.
What were you going to say? About Lana?
No.
Oh.
No, I was just going to say I worked out 2 times a day.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I know it's stupid. That's why I moved on and you forced me into it.
I will say we went, what month is it? July? That's right.
Yeah.
We went to Cabo in the middle of July. It's probably not the best time to take babies.
Really?
It is so hot.
It's so hot, but I would say, and I don't know if you feel this, that was my favorite vacation with our kids to date.
Yeah, you know why? Because we stayed in one place.
Yeah.
We always go places where we need a car or we have to go here, go there. Like when you stay in a resort, you just walk to breakfast, you walk to lunch, like, and then you go back for nap time. And we had a pool at our villa, which was nice. Like, that's why. But
I think it's also because their age, like they are friends now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they like play with each other. So like when Stella's like before, when Stella was excited about something, Stratton kind of just didn't know what was going on. But like now they're both so excited.
So cute.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It makes me like, the Bucket List family.
Yeah.
It's like, I just like want to be them sometimes.
No, I don't. I know. I don't know
they
how they
need
do
routine.
that.
They need school. They need all these things that are practical.
No, that's not why I'm saying. I just don't know how the Bucket List family does it. Like they are just like next level. That's so much.
It's a lot.
It's mad respect. I wish I could be like that, but I'm too high maintenance. Like I think in order to live like that, you have to be like super low maintenance.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, Cabo was a blast. Tonight is a big deal because we bought these tickets probably like 3 or 4 months ago. We're going to see Morgan Wallen and my sweet, sweet, sweet friends. It's Allie's birthday today. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
Should we call her?
Yeah. I mean, she's really busy.
Okay.
and then Janelle, and then we're going with their husbands. And it's sweet because if you look on the website, it says Morgan Wallen starts at 4:30 on a Friday. But like,
no way.
He doesn't. He's going to go on at 9 because like that's whenever every artist goes on. Well, Janelle's husband got us a limo for 3:00. So it's going to be a long day.
Let me call him.
Oh, he's going to be like, I looked on the website and let's see.
Dark streets, broken lights, voices whisper in the night. Shadows crawl, walls closing tight. Stars fall lost in boundless flight. Cold winds, breath on the air. Eyes watching in despair. Neon dreams flicker, burn, glare. Truths fade lost, no one aware. Turn and face the endless dark. Lost and found with every spark. Echoes scream, silent remarks. In the void we leave our marks. Haunting cries, memories fade. Siren songs moon the parade. Fractured minds splintered arcade. Soul's reflection, hollow charade. Forgotten path, memories chained. Heartbeats synchronic pain. Lament songs, tears refrained. Wreckage swirls in stormy rain. Turn and face the endless dark. Lost and found with every spark.
Yo.
Hey, Devin, you're live on the podcast. Don't cuss.
Oh, gosh.
Danny's got some questions for you.
No, I don't. You called it.
We want to know what time Morgan Wallen is going on.
You know what? I just got up with Miles. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be at her house in like an hour, but it disclosed to me that he does not go on until 9:30, so we now have a little bit of an issue.
Wait, what time did you think he was going to go on?
Well, I don't know. I was erring on the side of let's get there early. We'll get the vibe going. We'll have fun, but
6 hours early.
Don't want to sit in makeup.
They don't want to sit in makeup.
Well, because the girls are getting their hair and makeup done. I'm just getting my hair done. And it starts they're getting their hair done at 12.
Got it.
So I'm supposed to be there in an hour from now.
Oh, you're going to the girl's house?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the plan is now.
Oh.
So here's the plan. I think we go and get dinner early.
Yes.
That's what I said.
Devin, this is why I called you. I knew we were going to be sharing brainwaves.
So here's the deal. You're the planner. You just abruptly end the podcast and make a reservation for us.
You're the one that got us into this mess.
Do not point fingers at me.
Do not point fingers.
Point them elsewhere.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Wait, is Miles coming over in an hour too?
I mean, if you're cool, you are.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, well, let me think about that.
Don't come over too early.
Okay, bye.
Wait, did we never talk about our vibes right now?
What do you mean?
Look at the way you're dressed versus me.
I know.
It's so funny. Like,
I have a meeting after this.
do you feel like when we first started dating, I was a little bit more elevated than I am these days? It's okay if you say yes. Like like more dressed up every day. Like,
if I think about dating you when you were still in college, I think about you in those like jogger shorts, tennis shoes, and tank top.
oh, so kind of same.
Yeah, think it's because you always like ran, like you didn't drive over, you just ran like 13 miles. To my apartment.
I would run to Jordan's place to pick up Hazel to go on a run.
Yeah. Which is crazy. How far was that?
It actually wasn't that far. I think if I picked up Hazel, I probably only lived 4 miles from you.
Okay.
So I'd pick up Hazel, I'd run to your place, pick up Hazel, and then like run another like 2 or 3.
That's like when you know you're a runner is when you're like, nah, I'll just run 5 miles.
Oh, that was nothing. Anything over 10 miles back then probably got my heart rate up.
Since you were like around Matt James, like he's always like in your Instagram bubbles now. And I like watch his stories. And he's always like, 12-mile run, 14-mile run. And I'm like, this guy is insane.
It is crazy how when you get to a certain point when you're running, and I vividly remember the day that I was running and this happened. I had run about 5 miles and I remember stopping and being like, it felt like I had just been walking. I remember being like, I don't even feel like my heart rate increased, whatever. Like, it's so crazy how you really do build up that stamina. If I ran right now, I couldn't even run down the stairs right now. I'd be like out of breath. But if
you tried to go running with Ellie and I had to come pick you up.
Yeah, I had some tummy problems.
That was like the epitome of marriage. I'm not gonna lie.
I was not okay. Like, I'm with Ellie and I'm like, Ellie, call my husband, call Jordan, tell me come right now. And like, he came, picked me up and drove me to a porta potty. When you're pregnant, that happens. Okay. Like things just don't function the same way that they do when you're not. But also there was this one time, actually, I can't tell you.
This is a story that you have tried to tell this story 7 different times on this podcast, and then you always back out.
Because you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. It is.
I think you should just tell it.
I can't.
Babe, listen, we've got very little. Either we're going to go into that or we're going to start talking politics again.
It's my most embarrassing story to date.
We need to hear it.
The only people I've told is my small group in college.
Okay, well, we need to tell
and I told Ellie
2 million more people.
I guess it could be time.
Maybe you need to be free from this story. Maybe you need to be able to tell this story and know that we can still love you through it.
It's so bad. It's a story that like, it's embarrassing, but then like something else happens and you're like, there's no way that actually happened.
Yeah, we need to hear it. I know you're a 3 wing 4. You're thinking, oh my gosh, what are people going to think about me?
Okay. I'll tell you. Honestly, because I think it's because I have had 2 babies and I'm like, who cares at this point? But like 3 years ago, I would never.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to carry it to my grave. I wasn't ever going to tell you.
I know.
I don't know if you'll be able to look at me the same.
Try me. I like leave. I walk out.
He's like, you disgust me.
I pack it back.
Okay.
This is good.
So
this will fill the hour.
One time. This is my most embarrassing story ever. So when I went to the University of Texas, my freshman year, I joined the running club. Okay. And we ran really early in the morning, or they had some sessions at night. I think this was a nighttime one. This was like around 5 or 6. And the loop that we would take, you had like a 3-mile option, you had like an 8-mile option, and then you had like a 13-mile option. I think I did like the 8-mile option that day. And I always ran with the boys because I was faster than the girls. So I had like 3 or 4 guys that I was running with, and I didn't know them well. Like, we were just in group together. Like, they weren't like my friends, but we just ran like a similar pace. I'm telling my most embarrassing story over, and Jordan's on his phone texting.
I'm sorry.
I think I'm going to have to not tell it anymore.
No, come on.
Okay. So, I'm running with the boys, and the run is going great. Like, I have this insane pace. I'm like feeling so good. Well, we ran downtown Austin. And so all of our loops, because UT is right next to the Capitol, like you ran around the Capitol, which is like just so majestic. It's beautiful. Like, So we're running back around the Capitol, like we're about to finish the race. And so when you like, you know, when you have about a mile left, like you pick up speed and you like start running faster. So the group is like, come on, Dani, like you got it, you know, cause I'm like killing it this one time. And we get to the Capitol and like we go around, you know, and I'm with like 3 or 4 guys and I'm like,
do you like any of these guys at the time?
No.
Okay.
No.
So just trying to
But
paint a
like
picture.
I'm with guys, like I'm not with girls. You know what I mean?
Right. Fiji's?
No, babe. The Texas Running Club was not fraternity guys. Let me just tell you. No. These are guys that I am probably bigger than. Like, you know.
Okay, got it.
Male runners are typically that are like really fast or like usually very, very small.
Right. Okay.
So we're coming around the Capitol and my tummy starts to hurt so bad. Like to this day, it's the worst tummy ache cramp like I've ever had. And I'm like to the point where I have to start walking. I'm like, ow, 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 ow. Like I can't even like really walk. And the guys are like, oh, we'll wait for you, you know, like trying to be like heroes. And I'm like, no, like y'all go, please. I'm like, I got a side cramp. Like, I'm good. Y'all go. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, seriously, y'all go. Like, I'm good. And so they keep running and I'm walking and I'm like by myself. It was so crazy because like I'm in front of the Capitol, but it's probably like 6 o'clock now because we had been running for maybe 45 minutes or so. And like
AM or PM?
PM.
Okay.
If you would not been texting, you would do that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And so like, you know how like in front of, it was actually, so you know, the front of the Capitol that faces the lake, it was
Right.
technically always around the backside, but I'm
Yeah.
still at the Capitol. But like, do you remember those streets? Like, even though it was like 6 p.m., like not a lot of people like walked or ran or were in cars on those streets. Like
no,
it was kind of
on the backside, it's kind of dead.
yeah, but there were office buildings, right? And so I'm like behind the Capitol now and I'm like, oh my God, like I have to go potty. Like there's no porta potties. Like I am not okay. Like I was like, I'm either going to go in my pants, like to the point where like there was just no way. There was no way. Like
Right.
where I was with Ellie, that was like a 4. This is like a 10.
Oh no.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm either going to do that, which disgusts me, which I was like, I can't. So I ran behind a red truck on the street parked in front of the Capitol and I went potty. I pulled my pants down.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So that's horrible in and of itself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, this is disgusting. Well, across the street, there are all these newspaper stands.
No. You're right. This is so bad.
So I'm like not even kidding you. Like this is the part of the story that's like, you just won't even believe it. So I run across the street with my pants still down, like kind of around my knees.
Across the street, across a road where cars drive?
I saw nobody and I was like, nobody's
Yeah.
like, you're in such desperation. I'm like, I'm not just like going to pull my pants up, but I'm like, oh, I see these newspapers. So I run across the street in front of an office building. They have, you know how they have like 4 or 5 newspapers sometimes?
Yeah.
And so I start pulling. They're all like locked. Like you have to like pay for them or they're locked or something.
Yeah.
Finally, I get to the last one and it's open. And I'm like, oh, thank you,
What
Jesus.
newspaper was it? Texas.
I think it was the Texas one, like the orange.
The
it was
Austin American Statesman.
yeah, like, and so as I finally pull that out, like at the time, you know, I hadn't met you yet. This was 4 years before I met you. But like the hottest man I've ever seen in my life, who looks like he came out of like, you know, Brad Pitt movie, like in full head to toe, like expensive suit, like probably was like an intern or like some working
So
in
like
this
kind of your age?
older than me. Like he's probably like out of school now, but he was like, he looked like an actor. Comes out as I'm pulling the paper, the newspaper
And
from
your, and your pants are down.
yeah. And he looks at me, like the door is like automatically open and he goes, oh shit. Like literally. And I look at him, I pull my pants up and I just dart off. I ran away from him.
That's horrible.
And then I was so scared that I was going to be on the news.
Oh man.
I don't know why. I was so scared that like this girl's going to get in trouble for public, like
That's crazy.
urination or not
Indecency.
indecency, public. What do you call it whenever you're nude in public?
Yeah, public indecency.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, they were like future, like Chi Omega caught on the streets.
You know, he's probably on a podcast right now and he's telling this story from his point of view. And he's like, and I walked downstairs and the door opened
There's
this girl with her pants down and an Austin American Statesman, my newspaper that I'm interning for, runs.
The way I tell this story when it's a bunch of girls is way funnier, but I'm just keeping it like
PG. That's crazy, babe.
Yeah.
How do you feel after getting that off your chest?
I'm scared that there's going to be footage that comes out now. I always got so scared because
I've just been holding on to it all these years.
Well, I always got so scared because I was like, there are definitely cameras.
So
you know
when
what
you
I mean?
say like your pants are down, like
yeah,
to your knees?
yeah. I'm not stupid enough to run around them with my ankles. Like I pulled them up high enough.
Yeah, it's just like your butt was out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I just trying to keep things sanitary, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't know. This one was like I was so secretive about it, but like I wasn't. Also the fact that it just was there in the middle of the street. Like there's no hiding because I kept looking for bushes, but there's no bushes in downtown Austin.
Yeah.
In front of the Capitol. And if they are, they're like those spiky ones, you know?
Why didn't you just go into the Capitol?
Babe, I was like behind the Capitol. Like there was no, and I've never been inside the Capitol.
Really?
And honestly, I just have to tell you this. If I was with Ellie, I would have done that. But this was not a level 4. This was a level 10.
Right.
It's coming here or on the floor. Like that's where we were at. There were no options. That's why I went in the middle of the road.
That poor man with his red truck. Just trying to leave after a long day of work. Just trying to open the door and
it's craziness.
It's crazy, man. I get it.
What's your most embarrassing story?
I'd have to think about it. It's hard to top that one. There's probably some. I'll tell it next week. I'll think about it.
Okay.
That was fun.
Do you still love me?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, totally. It's fine. It's funny now. It's funny.
Well, okay. Speaking of which, you do see like long distance Olympic athletes that just go potty in their pants when they're running.
Really?
Babe, yes. It's like, of course, it's very common.
Like Boston Marathon runners?
Yes. Or no, Olympic athletes.
Huh.
No, you just see it's all down the legs. Babe.
Like,
duh, like where have you been?
Really, like number 1 or 2?
Number 2, babe.
All down their legs?
Yes.
I've never seen this in the history of my life.
Guys, are y'all kidding me? I'll pull it up right now.
Well, I mean, should you? I mean, it makes sense. You know, is that actually a market, like underwear for runners? Like, I mean, if astronauts have underwear where they can just kind of go.
So you're saying diapers?
Yeah, you're right. What's the difference? But like,
yeah, this guy has it.
Aerodynamic.
This guy ran for France and he has it all.
Aerodynamic
I
diapers.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think whenever you're like in the Olympics, like you can't stop. And like if something happened, like you can't stop, it would mess up your time.
Right.
Like I'm sure it's very common for runners.
Oh my gosh. That's
it's
just
really
the
like,
stuff that you don't see on TV.
I mean, there's just people, they're just willing to sacrifice anything.
To win.
Should I give you a pregnancy update?
Yeah, how you been feeling lately?
Well, have you noticed that my gums have been really swollen?
No, you brought this up last week and I have not noticed.
It's getting to the point where I can't brush my teeth without like a lot of blood coming. I'm just really grossing y'all out today.
You know, it's real. It's humanizing you.
I'm getting to the point where I have these 2 teeth where my gums are so inflamed because of my pregnancy. It happened every pregnancy, but like this was probably the worst.
Yeah.
And they're so swollen that every time, like even if I touch it right now, they just bleed. It's really a horrible pregnancy symptom.
I feel like you've been feeling better though.
Yeah, for sure.
We're definitely out of the first trimester.
100%. I actually don't know how far along I am. Do you?
I don't.
I lost track after I messed it up with I kept going off of our conception date because I knew our conception date, but I didn't know the time I had my last period. So like then my doctor was like, no, you don't go off of that. You have to go off of your last period. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. So they calculated it, but like everything I have in my calendar is wrong now. So I'm like 15 or 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's all the same, you know?
It's all the same. January 18th.
January 18th.
Baby will be here.
Yeah. And the bump is showing now.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm listening.
No comment?
It's a great bump. I love it.
So my bump isn't showing now. And Cabo, it was kind of that weird in between where it's like beer belly or baby. You really can't tell. And the worst part about it is like my pants are just like a little too tight now where I still can fit into them, but I don't need to buy new ones. So now just everything is uncomfortable. You know that phase?
Yeah. I thought you looked really good in a swimsuit though. There was only one couple that like even asked you if you were pregnant.
I know.
Remember?
Well, because every time I walk around, I'd put my hand on my belly so people knew.
Yeah. It was funny because you were talking about you were like asking the question, do I just look like I have a beer belly or do I look pregnant? And then they asked you right after that. I almost wonder if they heard you.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that anyone else knew.
Yeah. Those two girls is what you're talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were sweet about it.
Okay. You know, since we're now a political podcast, I feel like we should talk about, you know, more politics.
Really? Okay, let's do it.
I have a question for you. So I did a reel to like a Trump sound. Like it was just like a funny, like it was like,
yeah.
It was like, you know, he says the most ridiculous things.
Yeah.
So I did a sound to that. And then the day, this always happens to me. The day that Kamala announces that she's going to run for president and Biden steps down was the day we were going to post that sound. And I was like, dude, really? Like, it's still so funny, but like now I'm like, is it just not,
it's
not
like,
worth it?
Well, it was like the pendulum swung over here and then it was like Kamala announced and I was like, oh, they haven't really talked about this person her entire vice presidency. So she was kind of like she was just over here. Mm-hmm. And now she's like a Gen Z icon.
I don't know if she's a Gen Z icon.
She's popping off on TikTok, isn't she? She's popping off on TikTok.
It's because they want a female president, but I don't know if it's like they love her.
But what's so crazy about the media machine is that they were able to take all of her gaffes. So like things that people made fun of before.
Hated about her.
And they were able to clip them to this cool music and take all the things that everyone was like, she's not very smart and like make her seem like this cool, relatable, like hip figure.
Because she always laughs at all of her own jokes.
Yeah, she laughs at her in like the unburdened by unburdened or whatever. And then like the coconut tree comment, like those were the three things that people just would rail her for.
Yeah.
And then because of this media machine, I don't know how they do it. Like they did it overnight. It feels like.
Yeah. It's like something that's cringy is not funny. They like
puffed her up. And so now it's.
I think because the Democratic Party was so eager for someone else to step into the role and the fact that she's young.
Yeah.
They just know Biden he just needs some rest.
He just needs a sleepy.
He needs a sleepy. He needs to go to Cabo. He's a sleepy boy. He needs to go to Cabo. He needs to hang with, you know, his fam. Yeah. And so I think they were like, oh, this girl, she's more of the bulldog that we need, that we want.
Mm-hmm. That's what that guy in the pool said.
Yeah, he was telling his son.
Yeah.
He was like, he goes, can you imagine if Papa ran for president? That's what it's like having Biden. That's what this guy in the pool said. He's like, Pa's too nice. Kamala's our bulldog that we need. He goes, and when people are going to be mean to Papa, we need someone that's going to be mean back.
Yeah.
Like Kamala would be mean back.
So it's so hard because I don't know what echo chamber I'm stuck in or like what I'm being fed, but that conversation of the guy talking to his son in the pool, it happened like overnight. Like no one 4 days prior to that.
Because Biden stepped down. So now everybody's talking about it.
No, but they weren't even saying.
Which is so funny. Like how long do you think they had been planning that?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Like you don't just like step down. Or do you?
I don't know. Like here's my question. Is
you
like,
don't just step down and like not think about like.
If you look
Kamala,
at the bigger picture of the past 2 weeks, it's like there was an assassination attempt on Trump. Okay. And then Biden disappears, says that he's going to continue running. Then the narrative totally shifts to him not running. He steps down and then Kamala's propped up and now she's like cool Gen Z figure.
And now I can't post my reel.
It's
my
weird,
sound.
it's a lot happened.
It was a funny one too.
In a week and a half period. You got to admit that.
Yeah.
If you like, what are your 3 list of hobbies that you would want to learn?
If I was a billionaire or just like now?
Just if you retired tomorrow.
Well, tennis for sure.
Right.
Like I want to be really good at tennis, and
That's a new one.
no, it's not.
Well, you said it last week. You said you wanted a tennis court.
No,
The first
I've
time I
always
ever heard
wanted
it.
that, but I just, it's just always been like, okay, when?
Mhm.
I really love history. So I feel like I would want to visit like a lot more museums. Like I feel like I'd want to read a lot more. It's just so hard. Like when you like history, but you have a horrible memory. It's like really hard for me. Like it's so sad because I learn the most fascinating things. And then like next week I forget it all,
No,
and I'm like,
remember.
I love that era. And then I'm like, wait, why did they go to war? It's just horrible. It's horrible. I hate that about myself. That's why I had to start a notes tab with like all my favorite World War II movies too. Cause like I can't remember the names of all of them.
Right.
But I have a tab and I write like who starred in it, what my rating was, and what like a little synopsis.
I had this idea the other day of what I would want to do if I had more time.
Tell me.
I think I'm going to call it, well, it's like, I'm trying to combine a concept of like brunch with the boys and a board game. So I called it like the Triple B Club. And I just like every day on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, we get together and everyone brings their own new board game and we just play over lunch.
Huh.
Because I'm never going to get into golf. I don't see it in my future.
Huh.
Right.
Never say never.
I don't like it. I don't think it's fun.
I never thought you'd work out either. Look at you now.
That's true. That's true.
I never thought you'd be eating plates of protein.
Yeah. But what do you think about that idea? Like that sounds like
I think it's so
that's like a
sweet.
reasonable paced life.
You know what? Yeah. It's like maybe one day I'll learn mahjong and brunch with the girls who are mahjong.
That's cool.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's cool.
I feel like it's a really hard game. I'm
But
like,
it's so
y'all ever
unique.
heard of Pictionary?
You could play that too.
Support for D-Influence comes from Seed. Y'all know I love Inspired by Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic. The daily supplement benefits your gut, skin, and heart health. Seed's DSO1 was developed in collaboration with Seed's scientific board and based on their foundational work in probiotics and the microbiome. With new clinical trials and breakthrough research published in top scientific journals, Seed's probiotic research, development, and innovation programs make DSO1 a product you know you can trust. Seed is great for those looking to support and maintain their gut health. Trust your gut with Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic. Go to seed.com/dinfluence and use code 25dinfluence to get 25% off your first month. That's 25% off your first month of Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic at seed.com/dinfluence. Code 25dinfluence. We do love some Seed in this family. Oh my gosh. My mom, I went over to her house and she has these drawers like in her kitchen. You open it, it's just supplements everywhere.
She loves
She loves a
her
supplement,
supplements.
which is so funny, like how things have changed because growing up, my mom cleaned everything with bleach with her bare hands. Like it's so funny because I was the one that was like the health freak because I took like all these health classes in high school. And like, when I started running, I started subscribing to all those health magazines. And I was like, Mom, we shouldn't be eating frozen foods. We should be cleaning. We shouldn't be using these ingredients. Like I was kind of like more like on the cusp of it.
Yeah.
And my mom would be like, oh, Dani, stop it. You're being so silly. And now she's like, it's totally reversed. Now I'm like, Mom, like eat the ice cream, like who cares? But it is, it's good for her.
Yeah. Facebook has helped her.
It's just the loads of information.
A lot.
Oh, she sent me,
She's got a lot of information.
she was over here the other day. And this is what annoys me so much because I know a lot of things are toxic and I know that they are bad for you. Like, don't get me wrong.
But it's like, leave me alone.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't leave me alone. I don't mind if I see a video about it, but there's two things that bother me. It's when a video goes viral of the one time that it happens, the one time that something gets mold in it and then like somebody gets sick and it's like, yeah that happened one time. Like, the odds that there is going to happen to one person. Yeah, it's going to happen. The other thing that bothers me is like my mom sends me all these videos. Like her new thing right now is like, do not use the air fryer. Is that the way it's called? The air fryer. Yeah. Because she saw a video that the air fryer like poisoned somebody's little kid. And like, I'm open to the fact that the air fryer might not be good for you. Right. Well, this video that she sends over to me like has like no factual information. It's like I bought an air fryer and then my kid got sick the next week. And it's like, yeah, my kids get sick all the time too. Like, why is it correlated or associated with the air fryer? Like, what information do you have there? And my mom's like, don't use the air fryer. And I'm like, okay, but like, I just need more information. Like, why?
Yeah, I put my salmon in that air fryer. I hit reheat and in my mind, I'm like, I am so healthy right now for not using the microwave. I'm like, I am making conscious decisions for my health. You told me, you said it was healthier than the microwave.
I thought it was.
Shoot.
I'm not saying that I'm right, but like, I just need more facts.
Yeah.
But my mom calls me like 18 times. She's like, don't stop using the air fryer, which it's really sweet because she cares.
Well, it's like people are like, don't use your wireless AirPods. Like, don't use the microwave. Like, don't go through security at the airport. Like, let them pat you down. And I'm just like, guys, I'm okay with a little bit of radiation. Like, if it's going to save me that amount of time, like,
I don't know. I do feel like the radiation is probably bad.
No, for sure. But like what I'm saying is like
I wouldn't mind being pat down.
Like my body, my choice. Like I'm going to go through security.
I don't know. Like it doesn't take that much longer to be pat down.
Right. But
in fact, sometimes it's kind of nice. I'm like, can you get my back, please? You scratch a little bit harder.
Oh.
I just miss being touched. The one thing that I would use, even if they said it was so bad for you, and I think that they already have, and I think that it is very bad for me, and I continue to use it, is aspartame.
Oh, Diet Coke.
Yeah, but to be honest, I haven't been craving it this pregnancy, so I actually drink more sparkling water with lime than I do the aspartame. But like, I feel like sometimes that Diet Coke is just like my treat.
Yeah. It's
hard, but I know it's so, and I think that there's like even more and new studies coming out that it's so bad for you. But I also feel like it's like, you know, everything in like small doses is okay.
But what's weird is like, I haven't drank a Diet Coke or eaten candy. I had those 3 cookies in Cabo. I won't lie. I had a landslide.
You're just horrible.
Once you get that out of your body really doesn't crave it anymore.
I know, but here's my problem. I can't get that far in the process.
It's okay.
Like,
it's okay.
Those 2 weeks of suffering, I haven't.
You haven't gotten there.
I haven't gotten there. And
I think in your mind, you're like, I'm carrying this child. Like, if I can't have this little thing, like what's like.
No, it's more than that, babe. It's actually like
addiction.
No, it's actually like a physical, like it's like a craving when you're pregnant.
Yeah, I would honestly say my AirPods.
No, Jordan, if you knew it gave you cancer in your brain, you wouldn't still. Like, come on, you're not that stupid.
I don't think. How strong are the studies on this? Is it just like it might be going on? Like, is it like your mom's Facebook algorithm type of study, or is it like an actual like research thing?
Is it like the electromagnetic waves or something?
Yeah, it's like you're putting it basically into both ear holes and it's just going straight to your brain. I think is the theory.
I mean, it adds up really if you think about it.
It adds up. It adds up. But it would be really hard to get me back on those wired headphones.
What you're wearing now?
Yeah. No. Like the wired AirPods. Like because you remember you'd always move your hand and then it yanks it out.
It doesn't bother me that much.
Oh, it bothered me so much.
Do you remember I used to run with those every single day? Like,
I know.
And they would get all twisted in my arm. Like, it's just.
I know. I just wouldn't go back. It's a simple luxury in life.
Okay. Presumed Innocent.
Okay. Yes.
Did you watch it yet?
There's a lot of things I see on Twitter about how Apple is making like the best shows ever and they're terrible at marketing these shows because like no one ever knows about them.
Yeah.
Presumed Innocent is probably one of the best shows I've watched this year.
Yeah, I would say so too.
So good.
It has so I've watched all of them and you haven't seen the finale yet. It has such a good twist.
I know. Do you know I woke up when you woke up to work out this morning, I started watching it. I watched it from 6 to 6:30 a.m.
That's funny. You never do that. It's a really good show with Jake Gyllenhaal. The whole time I'm watching it, I'm just like, it's so crazy you did Taylor Swift though. I just think about that the whole time.
Really?
They do show his butt in the show, just so everybody knows.
Yeah. So don't watch that part is what she's saying.
Like it's like a full backside booty shot.
But he could have had a butt double.
I don't think so, babe.
No, people do that.
I think we've seen.
That was
I
like a
think people
Friends
have seen
episode,
his
right?
butt before. I feel like.
Wasn't that a Friends episode where Joey's like a butt double?
Oh, yeah. That's funny. Yeah. So he's great in the show. It's so fun because when I watch shows like that, I always guess the ending. Like even the ending that I guessed that I told you was pretty good, right?
Yeah. Dani's very good at guessing thriller endings.
Because I used to read so many thrillers.
She's horrible to watch thrillers with because you'll make it midway through the show and then she'll be like, okay, pause it.
And I'll
I'm
predict
just calling it like this is probably what's going to happen. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, you're right.
Uh-huh.
But
this one, I want you to know.
You being right is you ruined it for me, who I wasn't even thinking. I was like just along.
I
for the
know
ride.
you're never thinking that ahead. And I'm like, that's all I can think about. But I will say for this show, it crossed my mind, but the way that they revealed it, I never thought they would reveal it that way. But I will say, I think in this show, like you kind of consider everyone at this point because you're like, so like who did it that you're like, could it be like you consider everyone. So you've probably even considered this person at this point, but the way it's revealed is just like pretty epic.
Yeah. I'm watching that. And then you've kind of, again, moved on without me to Narcos.
What a show. What a show. I'm telling you. Oh, did you know that they caught the leader, El Mayor, I think, or El Mayo. I can't, El Mayo.
Hello, I am El Mayo.
I'm El Mayonnaise. I'm Mayonnaise. Who is one of the co-founders, leaders of the Sonola.
Yeah. Didn't the other rival leader
set him up.
Yeah.
Oh, El Chapo's son,
right?
Set him up.
That's what I was trying to tell you about was like the new Pablo was El Chapo.
El Chapo.
And
that's
he like
right.
escaped from.
No, it's El Mayo. I was right. El Mayo.
He escaped from prison so many times.
Yeah. It's El Chapo's son, Guzman Lopez, led this guy to Texas telling him that they were going to go look at property. The U.S. government had a $15 million bounty for El Mayo.
Wow.
That is so crazy.
So they did that. So his son probably made a deal so that he would reduce his sentence.
Probably, yeah, because he let him right there.
Gosh, that's a movie right there.
I know, I can't wait. But anyway, yeah, so Narcos is a really good show.
It's very like historically accurate too, right?
It seems to be, yeah. It's good because it's like it'll teach you all about it'll teach you all about
the drug business.
The drug business. No, but it does. So it tells the story and it's like not too bloody or graphic. Cause I've seen some of those shows about Escobar that are so bloody that it just like gives me nightmares. Yeah. What's that one where they hit all the people in the walls?
Oh, Sicario.
That one like really just got me. And they just do the most disgusting things to people. And it's really hard for me to watch. But man, that Escobar, he was not a nice person.
Little rascal.
Just not great. Not great at all. People used to travel to Colombia to go like visit his homes and like his home was a museum.
We stayed at one of his homes.
I know. And now I know like why we were treated the way that we were.
Yeah. Tulum. What was it called?
Ah, man. Mallorca?
No.
I'll find it.
Yeah, we should share it.
We stayed in Tulum at one of Escobar's homes that he built like to hide in. Did you know that hotel that we stayed in, it has like underground tunnels?
Really?
Yeah.
That
he had
makes
a lot
sense.
of underground tunnels so you could hide from the popo.
Yeah, it's like one of the nicer hotels in Tulum, but I just generally didn't feel super safe. My wallet got stolen.
Well, and then
Part of the experience.
the manager of the hotel was like in on the hoax and Casa Malca.
Yes.
Casa Malca. And the manager of the hotel, like after we left, like we paid for it. First of all, I basically saw Jordan's wallet get stolen. I didn't see it with my own two eyes, but the guys that were waiting on us spoke Spanish. And like I heard them, like one of them goes like, oh, he noticed and she's coming to ask me about it. And I went and walked up to him. I said, did you grab his wallet? Like somebody just grabbed his wallet and like, he didn't realize that I was like, I understood Spanish. And he told the other guy, oh, she's asking me about it in Spanish. And I'm like, but they all denied it. And like, what am I going to do? Be like,
yeah,
like they just wouldn't give it up. And so then I went and told the manager, and the manager's like, oh my gosh, this is unacceptable. This never happened. Da, da, da. And then luckily Jordan had taken out his ID and put it in the safe along with your passport, but all your credit cards were stolen.
Yeah.
And we were checking out of the hotel, and we had to switch to another hotel because this was during like the Texas ice storms. And so our flights kept getting canceled. So we switched to another hotel, and the manager of Casa Malca, so it's called Malca,
Yeah.
kept calling us on WhatsApp and being like, it's Valentine's Day and I really, really want to leave the hotel early today.
No, he said we didn't pay.
He
and
said,
I was like,
he
you
said,
have our credit card.
He said, it's Valentine's Day and my date is waiting for me. Like, please send me a picture of your ID. The transaction didn't go through. I really need a picture of your ID. And I'm like, why would you need a picture of Jordan's ID? Like the transaction did go through. And so then we looked on our bank statements and it said it went through. And he was like, please, please, I'm begging you. Like my girlfriend is waiting for me. I just need a picture of your ID. They needed a picture of your ID because they had all your credit cards.
I know. Why did they target us?
Jordan kept being like, babe, they need a picture of my ID. And I was like, Jordan, no. And he's like, they gave me this fax number. Like we should send it to them. I'm like, Jordan, no, they're trying to scam you. They were all in on it. This sweet boy, he'd only been to Cancun and all inclusive with his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tulum was not my favorite. I was offered a lot of ecstasy there. I was like, you know what? Never done that before. Probably going to stay away from that one. Not only that, but I had also just had a child.
Yeah.
And they were it was a lot of Instagram booty models.
A lot of them.
Well, I've never seen so many good looking booties in my life. I was just like, I do not fit in here.
Oh, that was a good podcast, guys.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of De-Influence. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and we will talk to you guys next week. Bye.